Hey family, welcome back to the channel. Today, I need to talk to someone who's on the edge of quitting. Someone who's ready to throw in the towel on their dream, their faith, their relationship with God, or maybe even their life. You feel tired. You feel worn out. You've been fighting battle after battle, and you wonder, what's the point anymore? But I need you to hear me clearly. Giving up is the worst option you have right now, because the moment you quit is the moment you guarantee that things will never get better. The enemy doesn't have to destroy you. He just has to convince you to stop trying. So today I want to pour courage back into you. I want to remind you what's at stake, why quitting is not an option, and how to find the strength to keep going even when everything in you wants to stop. Section 1. The cost of giving up. Let's be real. Quitting feels tempting because it offers instant relief. Quit the job, and you don't have to deal with your boss. Quit the relationship, and you don't have to work through the pain. Quit chasing the dream, and you don't have to risk failure anymore. But here's the problem. Quitting solves the short-term pain, but steals the long-term reward. Think about it. If Joseph had quit while sitting in that Egyptian prison, he never would have seen the palace. Genesis 41. If David had quit when Saul was hunting him, he never would have become king. 1 Samuel 24. If Jesus had quit in the Garden of Gethsemane, we wouldn't have salvation. Matthew 26:39. Every time you quit, you cut off what God was about to do next. 1. You lose your testimony. When you give up, you never get to see how God was going to use your story to encourage someone else. Your testimony is meant to set other people free. But you can't share a testimony of victory if you quit before the victory shows up. 2. You stop your growth. Struggle is uncomfortable, but it's also where you grow. Romans 5:3-4 says, We glory in tribulations also, knowing that tribulation worketh patience, and patience, experience, and experience, hope. If you stop in the middle of the trial, you miss the growth, the wisdom, the strength that God was developing inside of you. 3. You let the enemy. When Satan doesn't have to defeat you, he just has to convince you to defeat yourself. Quitting is you handing him the victory. Section 2. Why quitting looks so attractive. Let's be honest. Giving up looks easier because you're exhausted. You're drained emotionally. You're worn out spiritually. You're tired of waiting. But you have to remember, your feelings are not the full truth. The enemy loves to magnify how hard things are. He whispers, It's always going to be this way. You're never going to make it. God has forgotten about you. But those are lies straight from hell. You might be in a hard season, yes, but hard seasons end. You might be waiting, but waiting seasons produce strength. Isaiah 40:31. Section 3. Biblical examples of people who didn't quit. Let's go through a few people in the Bible who had every reason to give up, but didn't. Job lost everything, his wealth, his family, his health, but he refused to curse God. And what happened? God restored him with double. Job 42:10. Noah was building a boat for over 100 years while everyone laughed at him. If he had quit halfway, the flood would have wiped out his family too. Paul was beaten, shipwrecked, imprisoned, and still kept preaching the gospel. Why? Because he understood that eternity was at stake. These people face situations worse than most of us will ever face, but they didn't quit. And because of their faithfulness, generations were blessed. Section 4. Practical keys to keep going. Let's get super practical. How do you actually not give up when you feel like you're breaking? 1. Get honest with God. Stop pretending you're fine. Tell God exactly how you feel. Psalm 62, verse 8 says, "Pour out your hearts to Him, for God is our refuge." Honesty brings healing. 2. Focus on the next step, not the whole journey. Sometimes the future feels overwhelming. Don't focus on the next year. Focus on the next day, the next hour, the next faithful step. 3. Surround yourself with the right voices. The wrong voices will drain you. Find people who speak faith, hope, and encouragement into your life. 4. Remember why you started. Go back to the vision, the calling, the promise that God gave you in the first place. Write it down. Pray over it. 5. Rest without quitting. Rest is not quitting. Jesus rested too. Mark 6:31. Sometimes you just need to pause, catch your breath, and keep going. Section 5. The reward on the other side of endurance. Galatians 6:9 says, "Let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not." There is always a reward for endurance. God is not a liar. If He promised you something, it will come to pass if you don't give up. Imagine looking back a year from now, realizing that the pain you're in today was producing the life you prayed for. Imagine your children seeing you press through and learning that faith is real because they saw you live it. Imagine standing before God one day and hearing Him say, "Well done, good and faithful servant." It will all be worth it. Friend, I don't know what you're facing, but I do know this. You are closer to your breakthrough than you think. Don't give up. Don't throw away your faith. Don't let the enemy trick you into quitting right before the miracle. Take a deep breath. Pray one more prayer. Take one more step. Because giving up is the worst option. But pressing on will give you the story that glorifies God.